Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hemingway Jones live fountain pen show. It is always a joy and a privilege to be among you once again. Only 2 minutes ago, I was helping my wife dry my daughter's hair, and now I'm on live with you all. So, life is pretty dynamic, pretty exciting. So, I got a very interesting show for you this evening. We took last week off for July 4th. Much needed rest. I'm sure each of you were doing fun stuff too, and maybe doing something different with your Tuesday night. So it's always good to take a night off here and there, but very happy to be back. Lovely to see you all. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk a bit about kind of a dark DM cycle I went through that I think you guys would find interesting. Sort of as a semi-public personality in a very small group, I guess these kind of things can happen. So I just thought it was odd, and I thought you all might find it interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. Also, I wanted to touch a little bit on my internet and kind of the reason for it, and the DM story feeds into that. So that should be interesting, I think, for you all. And then lastly, I did promise you all a ghost story. And this is a ghost story of sorts. So I think you'll enjoy that too. So that's coming up. Also some pen goings on. But before I get into that, I want to say hello to everyone who's joining me. I see you in the chats. And a very special hello and a very warm thank you to my man, Lad Gardner, starting things off strong with a $25 super chat. Thank you so much, my man. You are just amazing. I appreciate you. Lad and I have a great conversation through the letter exchange with the Cognoscenti and Illuminati members, and we also have a great email conversation. Lad is a great guy with a fantastic voice. I keep urging him to write, to get that humor out there. But thank you, my friend, for your generous donation. Really appreciate it. He is a huge supporter of the channel. And this channel would not survive without someone like him. We're very niche. So there's no way that YouTube is ever going to promote us to be kind of financially viable. So I count on you guys, and I appreciate all of your support. Thank you. And if anybody's watching and you enjoy this and you haven't subscribed, I certainly would appreciate it. So come along on this journey with us, won't you? So I appreciate it. So very nice to see some people out there. Really beautiful, beautiful things going on. Okay. I hope my sound's okay, guys. I hear my air conditioner going on, and sometimes it can interfere a little bit. So if you can let me know in the comments if it sounds a little funky. Although I'm a bit loath to take off the air conditioner too, because it's about 90 degrees in Massachusetts today. So one of the things I want to start with are some recent treasures. Oop, sorry. It wouldn't be the Hemingway Jones live show without a technical issue. So I definitely have to represent well by destroying something. So I picked this up, ladies and gentlemen, on eBay. I have been chasing one of these for a very long time. You guys know I'm a huge Inkwell fan. I have this one, which I adore. I'm sure you've seen it in many of my videos, and you will continue to see it. It's always within reach here at the desk. Okay, so I really liked these travel ones from the 19th century. Rather elementary labeling there. It says ink, but I guess if you had rings and things in other cases, you need to differentiate. So here it is. It is made out of leather. It's got gold lettering in a really interesting cursive. Very stylized for the 19th century, don't you think? So it has a button here, and that releases it. I want to kind of show you that it's in very nice condition. These are plentiful. They're easy enough to find. They're tough to find in nice condition. And one of the things I did do is I didn't put any polish on it. You could put a little shoe polish on there. But what I did do is put a little bit of leather conditioner on there. Do you guys know Picard? It's like Captain Picard, but it's like Picard's leather conditioner. It's really great stuff. It can make stiff old leather supple and nice again. So I used that, and it brought back its luster. In fact, I'm going to give you a hack tonight, a fountain pen hack, which is esoteric and intense, and I'll explain that too in a little while. So lots of teasers I'm throwing out there, but okay, enough. We press this button. What do you think happens? It opens. Try and do this with one hand. So then we get into this inner compartment. Now, this I'm not sure if this is tarnish or schmutz on there. It actually feels like a bit of schmutz. I think I can clean that and maybe get this nice and shiny, which would be really nice. But I haven't done that yet. But look at this beautiful ornate metal work here, and then right here is a nice little release, and it pops up, and there you have your ink. You can see it had ink in it at one point, and no one has cleaned it entirely since. So I'll just show you what this looks like. It's really charming. Now I imagine this is meant for a dip pen, so probably the only fountain pen that I could sort of properly fill with this would be my Waterman 52.5. I think it would fit in here, and I'm excited to give that a try. But I am going to clean this. It's a little rough here. It's not quite sharp, but there's a few spots. I don't know if it has chipped over the years or if it was always a bit like that, but nothing terrible. I can run my finger on it without bleeding, but you can see there's some residue and whatnot on there. But very charming. I'll put this back together, and then we'll close this down. So I don't know how much I would really trust this seal. I don't know if I would take it on the road somewhere on my next adventure. Maybe I would. I'm a little crazy that way, as you guys know. But a very charming find. So I quite like this. And I'm enjoying it. And I'm going to keep it on my desk for a while. Laddie says, looks like it could be cement where a price tag was. I do agree. It could be. It feels that way. It's a bit goopy. So luckily, I do have an art conservator in the house. My wife is actually educated in the proper way at restoring art and whatnot. So I will get her on the case, because I probably will not do a good job. But let me show you another treasure. I have shown this to you before. I broke some of my rules when I bought this. You remember me saying, guys, you don't need something just because it's a different color. But what did I go and do? I bought it because it's a different color. But there are certain mitigants, if you will, one of which is I can use it for content for the channel. That is my rationalization for everything. Thanks for the likes, guys. That helps. Likes are appreciated. So the color is different, so I can do some content and whatnot on this. It's really beautiful, but then one of the other big rationales is that my wife has already claimed it. She looked at it, she said, ooh, I like that. I think I'm going to take it. So it will be in my custody for a very brief time, and then it will end up in my wife's purse where it probably belongs. It is lovely. I will miss it. Maybe I'll buy another one. But I wish this second camera did a nice job of zooming. It does not. So you'll have to take my word that this is an extra fine. Now, those of you that have been following the channel for a long time know that one of the things I do not like is an extra fine nib. But once again, Kaweco is pretty amazing. I have, I think, 12 different Kaweco pens. They gave me quite a few, but I've bought quite a few, including, well, I didn't buy it, my wife did, but including this, the Kaweco Bronze. So it's not like everything is free. You know, I do pay for a lot of stuff, including this indirectly, this, and a bunch of others. So, but I didn't choose this nib specifically. I got kind of lazy and I bought it quickly, and I was thinking, you know what, I have a bunch of Kaweco nibs. I can just swap it out. The place I bought it from only had the extra fine, so I just bought it. And you know what? I really like it. I'm really impressed. It's much nicer than I was expecting. It's very smooth. It has a really nice expressive sort of line variation to it. I see Lead Dog making a little fun of me, which is true. I deserve that. I am definitely a bit of a hypocrite when it comes to these things, but at least I admit it, so that does take away some culpability, I think, or at least shows some level of maturity, right? So I'll just show you a little bit of what it looks like. I mean, extra fine, guys. I can't really see. I can't really write through there, but I'm going to look a little silly in the second camera bending over, so forgive me. But here we go. So, very smooth. Also, sort of wider than you would think for an extra fine. Don't you agree? I'm going to try to write through the screen. That's always problematic. I always get in trouble when I do this. When I record, my handwriting ends up looking very funky. Yeah, it's a little funky. But, you know, what do you think of that? So, Kaweco, extra fine. Extra fine. You're extra fine, Kaweco. What do you think of that, huh? By the way, I'm doing kind of a new R. Not all the time, but sometimes in my cursive lately, I've been doing a lowercase r. This is an uppercase R, obviously. I've been doing it kind of like this with the A. And then I've been going like down and like kind of like that. It's kind of fun. Kind of digging it. Can't really do it in the middle of a word, but it's really fun at the end. Really hard to do it through here, but just when I'm working on the handwriting, it's a lot of fun. So anyway, extra fine, Kaweco, very, very enjoyable. Surprisingly fun. Really enjoying it, guys. Very petite pen, easy to toss in a bag. No worries about hurting it. Plastic is very durable. Just a lovely little pen that the last time we were together, if you recall, I hadn't put it together yet. So another pen I've been using quite a bit is the Lamy Vista. With the tag still on there, we spoke about this. I bought it in New York City, and I am hesitant to take the tag off because it reminds me of the nice times we had down there, even as we are now planning our next vacation, which is fun, isn't it? You get back 2 weeks later, you start planning for the next one. But so this is lovely. This is a medium. It is a gushing medium. This is a very wet, expressive, fun medium. So I'm having a very good time with this one. So, should we show this one too? Should we? I think so. As hard as it is for me to write, we shall. So, I really like how you can just pop this open. There's no screwing with this. No screwing around with Lamy, my friends. I'm writing through the screen. Not easy. I'm writing very large. I'm also kind of digging doing long, I don't know what you call these, where the letters go below the line. But in some of the old handwritings, they go down and then they just kind of go like that. It's really sort of charming. The same with G's. They'll go down and then they just go boop. I kind of like that. I'm not always going to do it, but sometimes I am. It's like a little tail. But you see how nice this pen is? How gushy? How it doesn't stop. It just flows and it just rolls. So absolutely brilliant. Very. Here's that R again. But see, if I want to go into the Y, you either have to come off of here, or you just do the Y separate. There's the other R. I always do big X's. You guys do big X's? I really like dramatic X's when I'm writing. So, yeah, the Vista's really cool. It's the transparent Safari. It's actually really, really fun. I think I like it better. I'm actually flirting with the idea of getting a calligraphy nib for this, because I like it so much on the other one. So Wolf Kate Witch likes the Goulet version with the black clip. I could see how that would be cool. I could see a black clip being a lot of fun, because you have black here, you'd have a black clip. But I'll say that the chrome clip is nice too, because there's a lot of chrome accents. This is chrome. There's chrome in there. You got a chrome nib, steel nib. But very, very fun pen. Very inexpensive pen. I mean, I paid top dollar for this pen, and it was $37. So very fun pen. Fun pen, guys. Okay. So, let's talk about some stuff, shall we? Now that I've beguiled you with beautiful pens, with the Lamy Vista, the Kaweco Bronze. The Kaweco Bronze. Look at this thing, guys. Bronze. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? Are you not entertained? I am still very proud of myself with the gold clip. I think the gold clip looks better than the bronze clip. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I also want to tell you guys something very important. I did a video on this. It comes out in 2 weeks at the end of July. I am so proud of it. I think it may be the best video I've ever done. So just mark my words, and maybe when the video comes out in the comments, tell me if you agree, if you think I'm all wet. But I think that my video on the Kaweco Bronze is the finest thing I've ever done. It was filmed at the Met, and it covers the material of bronze, this pen specifically, and a bit on the Bronze Age. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Super, super proud of it. And it's also a bit of like a 1-2 punch, because at the end of July is the Kaweco Bronze, and then on August 3rd is Dark Academia 2, which is done, filmed, uploaded, and ready to go. And what's so great about Dark Academia 2 is that it is the most lush video I've ever done, visually. It is full of footage from New York City, the Met, the Morgan Library, the Museum of Natural History, Rockefeller Center, just so many different places. Even at the bookstore, whose name always escapes me. I wish my wife were here; she would chastise me. But it's so lush, and it gives you 5 more pens for dark academia and 5 ways to bring dark academia into your life. So it's similar to the Hygge video. Remember how it's like, here's Hygge, here's some great pen choices for Hygge, and here's how to bring more Hygge into your life. If you don't know the Hygge video, search Hygge and you'll find it. I'm very proud of that one. But I think you're going to love Dark Academia too. It's also 20 minutes long, so it's epic. Epic. You guys like epic. I know you do. Kurt Geisinger cannot wait for Dark Academia 2. Me too. Me too. I'm psyched. I'm so proud of myself. It was a lot of work to edit that. I thought it would never end. Sometimes when I'm editing, it can be such an epic undertaking. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but my average clip length is only about 6 seconds long. So if you have a 20-minute video, somebody do the math. 20 times 60 divided by 6. Like how many cuts are in one video? It's a lot. So there's usually a point where I get halfway through and I'm like, this is never going to end. I'm putting so much work into this. And, like a couple times my wife said to me, like, why do you do that? Like, why not just do simple videos? Because they get the same amount of views. Like I sit there and I edit for a week and produce something I think is epic. And it'll get the same amount of views maybe as this video I'm putting out tonight, just talking to you guys. So maybe I should just do lives all the time and not do the other content, because it would be easier. It would be easier on me. But there's a reason. I think you guys know the reason. The big pretentious reason is that I consider myself an artist. I really do. I do it for the art. And my audience is you guys, and especially the members of this channel. That's why I'm always asking you guys your opinions on things and what you like and all that. Because you're sort of my target audience for this art that I love to produce, which are these epic films that are probably way more than what a normal fountain pen video maybe would normally ask for. Like the Bronze Kaweco Sport, I've actually haven't seen another review, like a straight up review. And mine's not a straight up review, but I'm sure if I Googled or I searched YouTube, I'm sure a lot of the people that do pen reviews have done it. I'm sure. What I did is different. I mean, maybe it's different. Maybe people did what I did. But it just touches on so much. I think you guys are really going to dig it. It's not just, this is how it writes, this is how much it weighs. By the way, it is a little heavy. It is all about bronze. I really think you're going to enjoy it. Okay. So, yes. So I'm going to keep making these artistic, over the top, slightly pretentious videos until my health no longer holds up. And I'm pretty healthy for 56. So I think you guys are stuck with me for a long time. Although my voice likes to give out, so excuse me. Little lemon iced tea, green tea with lemon, cold. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, Dr. Alaska saying, no, there's no other channel even close to this. Thank you. That is sweet. I appreciate that. So follow along if you're not already signed up. We're very close to 7,100 members. So thank you all for being here. It's really, really awesome. Really awesome. Thanks for the kind words. Richard, it's amazing how much work and time goes into creating a video. It really is. And by the way, the members of this channel see a lot of the blooper reels. And some of them are kind of ugly. Like, they're not all funny. I do put the funny ones up, but I kind of want you guys to see the process too. So in my recent video, I keep annoying my poor wife, who's the human gimbal, holding the phone up for me, but she has a habit of like putting her fingers where it looks like it's on the lens, but she's such a pro. She knows which lens she can touch because there's 3 different lenses on the camera on the iPhone, right? So I'm like, honey, I think you're blocking the lens. She's like, I'm not blocking the lens, because she can see. And of course, I'm like mansplaining. I'm all being an awful husband. And I just think it was funny. But then we're laughing too, of course, because it's fun. It's really fun to make these. Anyway, I'm doing some changes. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm going to use more of this kind of a ratio. I'm going to do a little less of that close, square framed against the library, and a little more warm, handheld, conversational. I think is a little bit more fun. And a lot of the new videos don't have the introductions. They don't have like, hi, today we're going to talk about this. The Bronze Age goes right into it. And it's so dramatic. The music. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm so excited. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Really, really going to enjoy it. Allie J. Hi, Allie. Your video reminds me why I like fountain pens in the first place. Thank you so much. That is one of the nicest things you could say because that's what I'm trying to convey more than anything. Because anyone can talk about how it is to write with these amazing writing instruments, but very few people convey the history, the passion, the heritage, how a pen makes you feel, how you interact with it, how you respond to it, how a pen that you hated now becomes one you love. It's the whole experience of writing and interacting with these marvelous pieces of art that express who we are as people in our handwriting. So that is what I'm trying to get across. That's my passion, guys. So thank you for that. Ooh. Very nice comment. I personally love the depth of passion in your videos, and especially your vulnerability. Thank you. Am I vulnerable? I thought I was invulnerable, but okay. No, that's great. Thank you so much. I really do try to show you guys who I am, and especially in the lives. I'm trying to tell you a bit more about myself. That's why we're going to do a ghost story tonight. But first, now that we're halfway through the hour, I thought I would reward you guys with something that I normally wouldn't do. Okay? What I don't like to do is to share things that I sort of consider edgy. And I'm talking about fountain pen things. This is esoteric fountain pen knowledge I'm about to give to you. Esoteric knowledge has a warning. The warning is you use it under your own judgment. Should something go wrong, I'm sorry about that, but I warned you. This is esoteric. This is the fountain pen equivalent of taking your pen after you've mangled it and you're going to go and bury it into the pet cemetery. And then it's going to come back. That's the kind of knowledge I'm about to share with you. Okay? So maybe it's not quite that bad, but it's very important. I want you guys to know this because I haven't seen it anywhere else. Doesn't mean it's not out there. I'm sure there's other people doing it. I've done this. I have been doing this for years. I've seen no ill effects. But there is a technique to it. It's esoteric. Okay? So let's go into the upper chambers, the inner sanctum of fountain pen knowledge. Have I hyped it up enough? All right, I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. I happen to have a pretty decent pen handy. By the way, when you're writing with a pen you love that's rather precious to you, sometimes you wrap it up in a microcloth fiber. You want to be able to grab it quickly, but you don't want anything to happen to it. Anybody want to guess what this is? I'm going to tell you. Maybe some of you already know. Okay. The mighty Mont Blanc Egyptomania. This faceted, interesting masterpiece. Okay. So I'm now about Terribly sorry about that. So, Kurt with a super chat of $10. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate that. I'm going to put that up on the screen. Thank you, Kurt. Kurt is rewarding me for passing on some esoteric knowledge. Okay. So, thank you, Kurt. Very generous of you. Your support keeps this channel going, all of you. I appreciate it. So this is a fairly precious pen. You guys know I adore it. I've had it now, I think, for almost 2 years, maybe a bit more. I'd have to really check the receipt. I don't remember. But I've had it for a while now. It's actually in amazing shape. There's nothing wrong with this pen. It is made of what Mont Blanc calls their precious resin. We all know what precious resin is and what it is not, and the whole term precious resin probably comes from a mistranslation of the German. It really means proprietary resin. Every company has its own resins. They're a type of plastic. Sometimes they have organic components and whatnot. But say you have this pen and something makes you toss it across the room. You put it in your pocket next to, say, the Visconti Homo sapien that's made out of lava stone and they're up against each other. Say that you drop it onto gravel and you scratch it up really, really intensely, where it's discernible and you can't believe what you just did. Let's imagine that, shall we? And I can tell you that this sort of happened with my Mont Blanc 149 that I've had for over a decade. It takes a lot of abuse. It gets scratched because it's on my desk. It's getting pushed around. It doesn't get the precious treatment that this one gets. It's so much a tool to me and so much a part of me, where this is kind of precious. So I wrap it up. Okay. I know I'm being very long-winded, but so this, what happens now? You ask yourself, I've scratched up my pen. How do I fix it? There is a way, and it's not that hard, but it's not sanctioned by anyone, except I can tell you I've done it. I've done it multiple times. I've done it years ago, and it's done nothing to my pens but make them look better. Now, I don't have it in my hand, so you're going to have to use your imagination. But if you want to get rid of the scratches, what you would do is you take a little bit of this stuff called polywatch. And what polywatch is a substance that you use to fix the crystals on watches that are made out of plastic. There are plenty of really charming watches that have plastic crystals. What polywatch does is it sort of softens the plastic chemically, and it makes it fuse back together, and it doesn't hurt the shine. In fact, it seems to enhance the shine. Now, if you had a dull pen, it might not work well. It might make it shiny in a spot. So this is why it's esoteric knowledge. But what pen I'm talking about specifically is the 149, which is made of the same stuff as this. So what you do is you take a little bit of polywatch, just like a tiny droplet, and then you take a microfiber, much like this one, and you rub it. And you just keep rubbing it. And you rub it until it gets kind of hot under your finger. And that probably takes maybe 5 minutes. And you keep rubbing it until it gets hot. And then you look at it, and those scratches, those serious scratches, will be gone. And your pen will be shiny, like this one. And you could probably restore an entire pen with it. So that, my friends, is some esoteric knowledge. The reason I don't like to share these things is that I'll probably have a million comments of people telling me that that's completely wrong, don't do it, it'll make your pen turn into liquid or something. I mean, anytime you say anything, there's always the naysayers. You know, like one of the interesting things is we were talking about Tom's studio pen made out of aluminum, and you can eyedrop it. And everyone, oh, you can eyedrop that pen. It's made out of metal, and the ink will react with it, and it'll leak. And it's like, you know, Coca-Cola is the most acidic, corrosive substance. It can be used to clean car parts, to make 60-year-old pennies glisten like they were freshly minted after being in it for like a half hour. That's in an aluminum can that's like a millimeter thin. And you think that a pen made out of the same material is going to dissolve into nothingness? I don't think so. It's my personal opinion. So there we go. So this is my esoteric advice. I want you guys to have some value watching this. Use it sparingly. It's upper level stuff. Okay? So I hope that helps. All right. So let me tell you now a story about Hemingway Jones. Do you know Hemingway Jones? I know him. Hemingway Jones is my nom de internet, and it's nothing new. I've been kicking around the internet since the early aughts as Hemingway Jones. Started out on the Indiana Jones fan pages. Those of you that know me well know that I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. In fact, I'm going to do a video soon on the Indiana Jones fedora. I have several. I was friends with the guy who made them for the fourth movie. Kind of sad he made them for the fourth movie. He was a lovely guy. He actually passed away, but a lovely fellow. I was also friends with the guy who made the jacket for Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he measured me and made me a jacket. Actually, he could for any of you now. Well, he can't. Sadly, he also passed away, but his company still exists, Wested Leather. So anyway, so I created Hemingway Jones. I now answer to Hemingway. I've been in airports where I hear somebody yell, Hemingway, and I'll turn around because it's sort of my nickname now. It's very ingrained in who I am. And people recognize me as that in various places. So super fun having sort of two personalities, if you will. Now the other me is the banker. You know, Tim is my real name. People have called me Tim on the channel when I'm interviewing them. I'm sure you've heard that. I have a last name. I prefer not to share it, but I do have it. It's not the biggest secret. You guys seen me write, and I write under my actual name. You've also seen my initials on books and things, so it's not a big mystery. It's designed not going this way, but going the other way. All right? It's not so that people who know Hemingway Jones can go find what my actual name is. I don't care about that. It's because I'm in the banking world, and people who are looking for the other guy, I want them to be able to get their $10 million loan and not have to try to figure out what all the fountain pen videos are and how to get to me, because I think that I would rank higher as a fountain pen person rather than as a banker. So it's a gateway from who I actually am into this world, not the other way. Okay? And that's why I've been pretty loose about it on this side of my realities. So I get a DM a couple weeks ago, and it was from somebody who took very great efforts to track down who I am and told me exactly how they did it. Which, by the way, it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to do that. One click over to StrideWise, and it's that easy. But, you know, they went through all the rigmarole. Well, you said this on the air, so I searched here, and there you were. And then you did this, and you did that. And I read that, and I was sort of kind of taken aback, thinking, why would you tell me that? Like, are you trying to make me uncomfortable? What is the motivation? I mean, you're not telling me something I don't know. I know these things. I'm not stupid. I know when I share something that it could be traced back to me or whatever. It's not a big deal. But it was just a very kind of dark DM. And they seem to have no clue when I pushed back and said, you do realize this is a very creepy thing to send me. Oh, well, my motivation is completely, above board or whatever. And it's like, it's just really odd. Like, why would you do that? What currency are you trying to purchase with me by doing that? I just found it very strange and kind of interesting at the same time, because you guys know me. I'm fascinated by all aspects of our lives and humanity in general. But here's this person. Are they trying to ingratiate themselves with me by sort of outing me when it's not even that big of a secret anyway? So I just thought it was very strange. And kind of shows some of the dark sides of this, because my interactions with the members of this channel, the people who watch, the subscribers, anyone who emails me, I'm pretty good at responding, I think, to everyone or most everyone. My interactions with you guys are like 99.9% positive, like glowingly positive. Even the critical stuff, I don't mind the critical stuff. I think some of it's warranted. Some of it makes me sad when people say things. Somebody recently said that one of my earlier videos was like better than the stuff I'm doing now. And that kind of made me sad, because I would kind of hope they'd enjoy what I'm doing now, because my earlier videos are a little rough, but they have their merits. So on one hand, I appreciated that too. But it was sort of funny to see people commenting like on Penboy Roy's thread about me, because then you get a different perspective. People sort of outside of this world. Very nice stuff there too. By the way, Penboy Roy will be joining us on August 15th. I think that's the Tuesday. So we'll have a nice chat with him. Lovely fellow. So I think that should be a lot of fun. Richard Zach says it well. Some people can't understand boundaries. Yes, even once I pointed it out to him, he didn't understand that there was anything wrong and creepy about it. And it really was slightly unnerving, I would say. And I love that people have enthusiasm about the channel. People want access to me. One of the easiest ways to get access to me is to join the channel. Especially if you join as Cognoscenti or Illuminati. You'll have all the access to me that you would want. You probably have too much access to me at that point. So, you don't have to do creepy things. Just support the channel, and you'll have all the access to me that you could ever want or need. So, I'm going to tell you guys a ghost story in a minute, but I do want to show those Copperist Woo items that they sent over a few weeks back, because I've since looked up how much they are, and I thought they're kind of interesting. So this is like $18, I think, and it's a charming bookmark. Between you and me, I think it needs to be deeper. I think it's too shallow, but I do like the way it looks on the page, sort of swimming like that. And it also only works with paperbacks, and I usually read hardcovers. Obviously, I'm a hardcover snob, but it's kind of charming, and it's very well rendered and very pretty. So I think it'll show up in some of my B-rolls. But I just figured I'd show it to you guys again. I know we showed it a little bit. The one I really like is the pen holder, and I think I looked it up. I think it was around $68. They just give me this stuff, so I didn't really think about money. This is a beautiful pen holder, but there's a but. I would not put a nice pen on here because it's really grainy, and I think it would scratch something like a Mont Blanc. I would put a cheap pen on here, like a Lamy. Or I would put some foam on it or something. But it's very cool. It's very beautiful. I really like it, but it will scratch. You have to use my polywatch trick to fix your pen. But very cool thing. So I kind of like it. And as you know, people send me stuff. I review it. I give my honest opinion. I like both of those. I'll find use for both of those. But I would tweak them if I could. I think the bookmark needs to be deeper and it needs to be more narrow so you can use it with hardcovers. And I feel like that pen holder needs to have some foam on it. So there you go. Very, very important stuff. I'm looking at your comments. I appreciate that. I always tell my kids to never text or email anything you wouldn't say in person. Truly, Terry. Absolutely. I have a feeling this person would have said it in person. They didn't seem to have any concept of anything being off. So it is very strange. Very, very strange. Laddie with a comment. Green bankers felt in the snake's muscular undulations. Exactly. That's what it needs so that you don't mess up your pens. But as a pen holder, it's actually really cool. It's very dramatic. I quite like it. So, always nice to hear from Laddie. Okay. Have a little tea, and then we're going to talk story time. Okay? I hope it's okay that I can share stories with you. Matter of fact, one thing I'm going to say really quickly before we start is that I have 2 steps that lead to the front of my house. I have 2 front doors. There's the study door, which is the one we use, and the step there is a big hunk of stone that was just quarried. And I love that because you can't hurt it. Then there's 2 steps that lead to the other front door, which I barely go over there. Occasionally somebody leaves a package over there and I walk over there. But this house was gut rehabbed when I bought it 8 years ago. But it was built in 1948. So some of it is from 1948. But everything inside is brand new. It's got open concept. They did a really nice job. The kitchen is really lovely, granite, nice. What were new appliances, now they're 8 years old, so they probably need to be replaced soon, right? But the staircase, the 2 steps, haven't been touched since the house was built. So over time, they're starting to turn to dust. And there was a hole in the middle, and there was a loose brick. Now, I'm going to replace the whole staircase, but I just don't feel like dealing with it right now. So my wife and I went to the hardware store. We had so much fun at the hardware store. We took my daughter with us. We ended up buying a bunch of stuff, but we bought mortar and a bucket and a trowel and all kinds of stuff. So we mixed up the mortar. I fixed the loose brick, and then there was one next to it that was kind of loose, so I took that one out, I chipped it out. Fix that one too, put in the mortar real nice, have the thing to make it look pretty, right? And then we repointed all the bricks. I was a little sloppy. I had to use some steel wool to clean a little bit. My wife is a better brick repointer than I am. She took over. She did such a neat, beautiful job. But so proud of the fact that we took on this really outside of our comfort zone job, and I think we got probably a couple more years out of it, but we're ultimately going to replace it. I just have to feel like doing it. And also right now, contractors are very inflated, right? Like right now, just to get somebody to show up here in Massachusetts to do anything is $1,000 just to get them to show up, and then whatever the work is on top of that. So maybe in a couple of years, the environment will be a little different and it'll be a little bit more affordable. So there we go. Okay. Ghost story time. Everybody likes a good ghost story. This one has a different perspective, okay? So about 100 years ago, in the mid-1980s, I was very good friends with this kid who went to the same school as me. And we'll give him an alias. We'll call him Dave, okay? So he worked for the school. I went to a Catholic high school. And one day during the summer, he was pushing these boards up a ramp. And the ramp collapsed and the boards hit him in the face. And he had a terrible accident. And he went into a coma and had to have major reconstructive surgery. And he was out for a whole year. And then he came back to school. And his energy never diminished the whole time. And he and I just became the type of close, great friends that you only have maybe once or twice in your life. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like the kind of friends you have from that movie, the Stephen King movie that The Body was based on, Stand By Me. Did you see Stand By Me? That kind of friendship you have with another guy when you're young, you don't get another shot at that normally. So he and I were tight. We used to do silly things together. I used to sleep over his house a lot. We would stay up all night and play guitar together. And he practiced Wing Chun and I practiced Goju Ryu at the time. Later on, I practiced Aikido. And we would train martial arts together. He, at one time, was working in a gas station in New Jersey. You can't pump your own gas. So he was an overnight gas station attendant. And I would just go and keep him company overnight. And then other times we would go to the rest stops on the New Jersey Turnpike just to play video games. My favorite video game is Space Harrier. I just got a version of it. My wife just bought me, so I'm reliving my 80s self, which is probably why this story came to mind. I thought you guys would appreciate it. So this is kind of innocent kids we were. We didn't drink. We weren't getting high. We weren't those type of kids. We were doing nerdy stuff, and we were just dear, dear friends. So time goes on, and he had some lingering health issues from the terrible accident that he had. His teeth were fake, and he had, plastic surgery, but still a very good-looking kid. He had this glow about him too. He just had a quality. I think he had a heart attack, but he recovered, and just a few different scares and things like that. And one of the interesting things about him is, for whatever reason, he was very much focused on Tom Cruise. So whatever Tom Cruise was doing, he did. So when Days of Thunder was out, he was racing cars. When Top Gun was out, he was wearing a Top Gun flight jacket and aviators, and he tried to get in the Air Force, but they wouldn't take him because he had that accident, poor guy. And then Cocktail came out, and he got into bartending, and he ended up going into hospitality as a profession. So years pass by. I'm in a committed relationship with someone. He's hanging out with us. Her and him, they are not getting along. For whatever reason, it probably had to do with how close he and I were. And she maybe didn't like that because maybe saw it as a threat. I don't really know. But we ended up staying with his mom. He had his girlfriend. I was with the person I was with at the time. And the person I was with made very good friends with his mom. So they would talk, and then they talked for months and years after, even though she did everything she could to keep him from me. So time goes on, and I go through a very painful breakup with the person I was with. And she tells me that this guy, Dave, who we're calling Dave, had died. That he had a massive stroke from his accident, and he died. And I, at the time, kind of really went inside myself and probably didn't say anything, and just probably didn't want to show any vulnerability to her, because she's telling me this not just to give me information, but to hurt me. But I had no reason to sort of like question what she was saying, and it just really was just like shocking and terrible to hear this. So time goes on, we separate, and I'm talking to another mutual friend, and I was like, Dave passed away, and he's like, oh yeah, I heard that. And I was like, yeah, it's so sad. Like, he was such a great guy. I just miss all these like great times that we had. But it was in that time in the late 90s, right? The internet wasn't really a thing yet. It was hard to sort of find people. And over the last 20 years, I would sort of Google him just to try to find an obituary or something. I think, to use the cliche, I was probably seeking some kind of I don't want to say closure because it's a cliche. I always steer away from cliches. So let's just say I just wanted to read the final chapter of this wonderful guy's life story. But I could never find anything on him. He had a fairly common name. There was actually somebody with an identical name as his from the same town that was infamous. So there was a whole lot of that noise that obfuscated anything about him. So I could never find it. Never find anything about him. So the pandemic rolls around. And this is the interesting part, I think. I'm going to take a little drink. Keep that tension going. So pandemic rolls around, and I think many of us were making connections then, looking to rekindle connections. I started my TikTok during the pandemic, and then the YouTube channel as well during the pandemic, to make connections with you guys. So I Google his name, and this time I get a hit. And you got to understand that when one of your friends dies, it really becomes part of your identity. It's such a deep loss that it haunts you for a long time. And you think about how you're living years and days that they never were able to experience. And you carry a certain burden of your affection for them across the years. And I can say this because this kid Dave, as my ex had told me, was gone. I have a dear friend named Timmy, who was my climbing partner when I was a rock climber. He went to Japan and ate a piece of sushi that something happened that paralyzed the nerve that empties your stomach. And he suffered for like 4 years, and then he passed away. And I love that kid. Like, that was another close friendship because that was forged rock climbing. I mean, he fell once, and I like saved him because I was holding on to his line. He saved me a bunch of times. We climbed in Colorado, in New York, in New Hampshire. We were just tight. And, very sorry to hear that he ended up leaving us so early. And then my good friend Butch died in a motorcycle accident. So I'm carrying a lot of this, right? So during the pandemic, I Googled this kid Dave, and I get a hit. And it's not what you think. It's the New York Times. And I click on it, and it was one of the finest restaurants in the country. It's 11 Madison. And this kid with the same name is the sommelier there. And I look at him, and it looks like him. But I'm thinking, it can't possibly be him because he's been dead for like 21 years. But I get this kind of like sense of, wow, I think that's him. So it was like goose flesh and my hair going up. It was literally like seeing a ghost, like someone is back from the dead. Now, the weird part is that the reality of it is that my ex just lied and said he had died. We, I guess, fell out of contact at the right time that we never intersected again. So it was reinforced by our separation over the years. Of course, he didn't come looking for me either. So there was no reason for me. And then there was my other friend who also had heard that. And so I really thought that he was. So, but still, you see somebody who looks like him doesn't mean it's him. So now I just contact a restaurant and talk to him, you know? So we end up talking. And it's him. But it was very blasé. It was very much like, hey, I just had a kid too, and they're the same age as your kid. Oh, that's so great. Oh, it was so nice to hear from you. I hope everything's well. Bye. And then I said to him, like, you know, I thought you were dead. Like, that's why I didn't keep in contact, because you generally don't keep in contact with dead people. But it was a bit disappointing that there was no connection anymore, because he was sort of a myth to me, kind of elevated and forever 23 or so in my mind. And of course the years went by and he grew apart, and you know, plus I am not that person that I was when I was 23, so I don't know if a friendship would even be possible. But it was just such an amazing story that I just wanted to share with you guys. I hope you will indulge me. But it's just, sometimes things in life aren't what you think they are. And then sometimes you don't have the sort of dramatic rapprochement you think you will with someone from whom you've been separated. If circumstance brings you seemingly miraculously back together. Sometimes the past is a closed book. And I think that's all I have to say. But I hope you enjoyed that, because it's been on my mind for a while. Howie J says, growing apart is a form of loss. Truly, it truly is. Terry Edgington, that is one mean ex. It really was. You almost have to hand it to her. That is devious. She was a piece of work. She was devious. But you know what? I wasn't great either. So I don't want to lay it all on her feet. I think you've heard me say before, you always have to question yourself. Is it me? Can it be me? There's culpability. When you're with somebody awful, you invited them in. They might be the vampire, but you told them to come into the house. So you have culpability too. You know, very, very big culpability. That ex, can we say you dodged a bullet? We could, Shane, but I think it was more like a flesh wound. So I'm very, very happier now. I have like a wonderful partner, as you guys know. The Asexual Atheist. I like your narrative. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for indulging me, you guys. I hope you found it interesting. We spoke about Ghost Cat before, too. But you guys know I don't believe in anything beyond what you can touch. If you can't touch it or shake its hand, it doesn't exist in my world. I am very factual. I'm very rational. I believe in the power of the rational human mind. But I still can't explain Ghost Cat. I just can't. So we'll talk more about Ghost Cat too next time. Julian Cortez, breaking the ice with a pen question. Favorite gold nib pen under 250? Gold nib under 250? I'm going with the Pilot E95S at only, what, 125 or so retail? That's a fun pen. Brilliant. Go with that. Or, how about this? Any vintage. Get a Watchman 52.5 gold nib, like a paintbrush. Probably find one of those for $1.75. So, very, very good one. So, if you guys have made it this far in the broadcast, please consider subscribing. And if you want to help support the channel, join. I'd love to have you as a member. There's even more of this kind of stuff behind the scenes. So if you enjoy this, then I'm sure you would enjoy being a member. Debbie Alston, sad for you and Dave. You almost need to confront the ex, but that could backfire. Now, you know, the thing about that is, that is too long ago, too. I don't think that she's culpable of anything that she did anymore. It's too long ago. We were too young. We're all old now. I've never seen her again. I have no idea what she's doing, where she is. I hope she's happy. I really do. And I kind of wish I could rekindle that connection with him again, because friendships are tough and connections are tough. And as you get older, holding friends and keeping friends just gets even more difficult. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to keep these to around an hour. We're 10 minutes over. So I think it is time for us to wrap this up. I really hope you enjoyed it. I tried to give you a mix of some good stories, some good information. So if you came to this late, watch the beginning, because I give a pretty amazing way to restore pens that are scratched. But it's esoteric stuff, so use it at your own risk. But it's really good. So go watch that. Talk about some new pens I have, including Kaweco Bronze. Fantastic pen. Got a video coming up on that. This week's video is on my handwriting library. This. So it should be fun. It's about how I'm using this to better my handwriting. That comes out this Thursday. It's a very casual video. It's fun. It's light. I think you'll enjoy it. I took some from one of our lives. Amy Alphabet is featured. I think you'll enjoy that. So super fun. So it should be a lot of good stuff coming up too. All right, you all. You mean the world to me. Thanks so much for being here. Can't wait to do this again, so I'm sure I'll see you next week. So everyone, stay well, and I'll see you further up the road. So take care.